I saw people stuck out on county roads during that rainstorm.
Go ahead and call this meeting to order October 7th, 2025. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a quorum present this morning with all 5 commissioners in attendance. Commissioners, if you've had a chance to review the agenda and there are no changes, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Under tab A this morning, we have 2 public hearings for a couple of budget amendments. The first being Resolution 25-10-CL-01, a budget amendment to increase the clerk of court's operating budget due to unanticipated expenditures. At this time, we'll hand it over to accounting specialist Rebecca Romero. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, on behalf of the clerk of court, I'm requesting $50,000 amendment to their other account, which is where the jury fees come out of. And that'll cover several upcoming trials this fall, including a large civil trial. And this prevents a shortfall and keeps the trials on schedule.
Very good. Thanks, Rebecca. I did receive a call from the clerk of district court, Boback. She couldn't be here in attendance today because they have a trial going on. But she did say that it's kind of an unknown. They just average this budget item year over year, depending on kind of what's going on and how many trials they have. Obviously, this year they're way ahead as far as the quantity of those. She says if we needed, we could reduce that to 25,000, and then if they needed more, they could come back. It's kind of up to us in that regard, but she was trying to, I guess, ask for a one-time extension in hopes that that would be enough to get her through the upcoming trials. So there was some documentation in your packet regarding the cost of those and the length of them and why there's the added fee, but that's kind of the gist of that. So I'd ask if there's any questions in regards to this resolution. If not, we do need to open this up for a public hearing. So at this time, if there's anyone online or in the audience that would like to speak to this specific budget amendment, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Toman,
I would make that motion.
do you have a motion to approve Resolution 25-10-CL-01 by Commissioner Toman? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Next, we've got Resolution 25-10-CL-02, a budget amendment to authorize the use of previously awarded 2023 funds for the hospital lab project within the fiscal year 25-26 budget. And we'll hand it back to Rebecca.
Yes, so this amendment is for the hospital lab project, which was awarded in 2023. The funds were anticipated at that time and appropriated. However, this year they do need to utilize those funds. So this budget amendment simply moves those previously awarded dollars into the department lines so that they can use them for their intended purpose.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I mean, as it's listed there, obviously we authorized this previously. I believe this year we put it in reserves. And so now we're just moving it from reserves to put it back in so they can spend it down. Questions on this amendment, commissioners? No, we do need to open this up for a public hearing. So at this time, if there's anyone online or in the audience who would like to speak to the specific budget amendment, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Jones,
move to approve Resolution 25-10-CL-02 for hospital funds in the amount of $2,744,950.81.
you have a motion to approve this resolution by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Jones.
just a note on this. I did ask and something is going on with the lab the lab project that you don't hear very often, but they are on budget. So that's good to hear.
It's very good to hear. And definitely rare. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Slaughter.
just would like to say, I think this is in keeping with what our intent was with this fiscal year budget. So I think this is exactly what we had intended to do with this.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we do have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Thanks, Brecca.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. This is going to move us right along into the county resident comments and concerns portion of the agenda, Commissioners. At this time, if there's any members in the public who wish to speak, now would be the appropriate time. We do limit this to 3 minutes. Today, we've got a busy agenda. So we would ask that you come forward, introduce yourself, and the floor is open. Good morning.
Good morning. You guys know who I am. My name is Michael Lewis Arthur Meyer. I'm an independent investigative journalist, cooperating victim with the Department of Justice regarding the U.S. military's use of biological and chemical agents against all of us. Ms. Schumacher provided all of you water testing results from 2014 to 2024. We have asked the environmental working group to come out and give updated results. We want them to test the water for lithium, another strand of strontium, and sulfides. These are the chemicals that are being dispersed in the chemtrails. On September 8th, I went to the county sheriff's department and we filed an official complaint, and it was quashed within a week. The sheriff said that there's no crime being committed. Now, I'm a cooperating victim with the FBI and the Department of Justice. I can't come up, I'm not lying to you guys. I am telling you the military is doing this. The third week of this month, I have 7 of my whistleblowers, military whistleblowers and researchers, 7 women are going to be testifying before the Senate Agriculture Committee up in Cheyenne. Most of them are going to be doing it through Zoom. I don't know what else I have to do to get you guys to take my report seriously, because you're ill prepared and you're not protecting any of us out here by ignoring this. On September 4th, you guys all received this email, every one of you. This is the copy of the email that all of you received. Not one of you replied. It's been a month. The only thing we requested was 5 steps to be implemented to protect our community, not only from the military treason that's underway, but also our water, our soil, our air, livestock. I take this very seriously. I've seen the destruction. I'm asking you guys to please, I'm not your enemy. I may be the worst messenger, and I don't have a good message because it's scary. The military is doing this to us. I'm not lying to you. My researchers and military whistleblowers did not lie to the FBI, but because of non-disclosure agreements and trillions of dollars they're investing in DARPA, this continues to move forward. You guys are supposed to protect those that you're serving, especially from this. So I'm asking you to please take this seriously. Any of my whistleblowers will meet with you. If you don't like me, that's fine. Then talk to the women who are putting themselves on the line to stop this from taking place. And that's it. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Appreciate it. Comments, Commissioners? Good morning. Is it Clerk Swinson now?
Yes, it's
Okay.
Clerk Swenson
All right.
now.
Just
Yeah,
wanna
they
make
get
sure.
it officially changed, so thank you. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I just wanted to take a moment to give an update on the Waco conference. I believe that we did Sweetwater County proud, and I've heard good things. I'm sure there was always room for improvement. But since Ms. Pendleton is here, I wanted to take that opportunity to also thank her and her staff for the amazing work they did helping us out. It was truly an incredible experience. So thank you for allowing us to do that the last few years. Sally and I are really glad it's done because it was a lot of work, and a lot of stress to make sure that we did the best job that we could do for Sweetwater County. So thank you for that opportunity. And thank you again for the incredible work they did. And the fairgrounds are just beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you. We certainly appreciate you guys putting that together the last couple of years. And we too only heard nothing but good things, and I know there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into that, so we appreciate your time and efforts. Floor is still open if there's any other county resident comments or concerns. Last call. With that, we'll go ahead and close the county resident comments and concerns portion of the agenda. That's going to move us right along into tab B. Under tab B this morning, there are 10 consent agenda items, Commissioners. First being the approval of the September 16th, 2025 meeting minutes. Second is the approval of the county vouchers, warrants, the expenditure approval listings. Third is the approval of bonds. Fourth, the approval of the abates and rebates. Fifth is the approval of the hospital maintenance expenditures. Sixth is the approval of laboratory matching funds for the hospital. Seventh is the approval of human services agreements. 8 is a request to restaff a vacant position in the juvenile probation department. 9th is a request to ratify the Board of County Commissioners letter on changes to the proposed resource management plan amendment for the Greater Sage Grouse range-wide planning. And lastly, item number 10 is a request to ratify the fiscal year 25 McGee Hernan Pies audit engagement letter. And Commissioners, I would ask if there's any requests to remove any items off of the consent agenda for further discussion. I'm going to request that we remove item 2, 5, and 7, which is the county vouchers, the hospital maintenance expenditures, and the hospital matching funds. And if there are no other requests, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Item 2 was just removed. That's the approval of the county vouchers, warrants, and the expenditure approval listing. I would entertain a motion to approve those, less the outstanding warrant for Vaughn's Plumbing and Heating.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. I'd entertain a motion to approve the outstanding warrant for Vaughn's Plumbing and Heating.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I'm going to abstain as that is my place of employment. Next is item number 5, the approval of the hospital maintenance expenditures. And I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to abstain as there is work that has been done in there from the place in which I'm employed. With that, that passes and brings us to the last item, which is item number 6, the approval of the laboratory matching funds for Memorial Hospital. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm also going to abstain from that due to my place of employment. Although that is funneled through the hospital, which is then funneled through a general contractor and then funneled down to subs. And obviously, we're using some of our county funds to, I guess, help with the matching funds on that project. So I believe it's cleaner to abstain. With that, that's going to move us right along into Commissioner comments. And Commissioner Slaughter, you're leading us off today. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the 17th, the County Museum Board meeting was held. I was unable to attend, but had arranged with Museum Director Mead to review the meeting with him afterwards. Director Mead informed me the museum is working with the airport to finalize the exhibit planned at the new airport terminal. He will continue to work with Airport Director Brubaker and hopes to have the exhibit finished in the near future. The museum also has a local business redesigning their website, focuses on modernization and user friendliness. The Museum Foundation has agreed to pay up to $5,000 for this redesign. They have posted a new job ad to replace Amanda Benson. At the time I talked with Director Mead, they had 8 applicants. And in addition to hiring that, they're considering combining that position of curator with an exhibit coordinator position due to their staffing concerns. The board is considering the acceptance of a large taxidermy exhibit, but is concerned with the available storage space, which continues to be a major concern. On the 20th, Commissioner Tolman invited Marielle and I to support her at the dinner held for the 2025 Green River High School 2025 Hall of Fame inductees. Commissioner Tolman joined 3 other individuals and the 1975 state champion basketball team in this year's class. It was a great honor to support Mary and seeing her accomplishments recognized. I learned many things about Mary that night and really enjoyed the ceremony, along with a great dinner and a chance to renew friendships with the other honorees. My only regret was that the attendance was not what I would have hoped to see for such a nice event. Congratulations again, Commissioner Tolman. On the 23rd through the 25th, I joined each of you in welcoming the Wyoming Association of County Officers to Sweetwater County for their annual conference. This was the second year of a 2-year agreement for Sweetwater County to host the event. The Waco event provides an opportunity for elected officials from around the state to attend educational seminars, network, and socialize with fellow elected officials. This year's participants were able to personally hear from Governor Mark Gordon, U.S. Senator John Barrasso, U.S. Congressman Harriet Hageman, and hear a video address from U.S. Senator Cynthia Lomas. In addition, Staff Sergeant retired Johnny Joy Jones regaled the crowd with an inspiring account of a battle to turn his life-changing injury into a personal mission to share his perspective to help others. A huge thanks goes out to Sweetwater County staff for their planning and execution of the event. Also, a thank you to Candy Pendleton and the staff of the Sweetwater County Events Complex for the preparation and use of the events complex. It was fantastic. The event wouldn't have been nearly as successful without the catering of the main meals by Wing Lu and his staff, nor the various food truck vendors that were there to serve lunch the first day. For anyone that may believe there is no value in meetings of this nature, all one needs to do is look at the agenda of educational opportunities or to attend any part of this event in the future to understand how valuable these types of events are. On the 3rd, I met with Land Use Director Bingham to discuss an issue at Arrowhead Springs. He and I then met with Deputy Attorney De Leon to discuss the Roadless Rule Initiative, the Greater Sage Grouse RMP, and the Rock Springs RMP. As always, I learned a lot from the discussion of these important issues that are coming down from the federal government and will have long-lasting effects on our residents in the state and county. I then spent the afternoon preparing for the October Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board meeting to be held on the 6th. Yesterday, I finished the preparations for the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board meeting and conducted the meeting. The sales tax distribution was once again significantly higher than it has been. This month was $1,973,275.37. The total collected has now reached $42,896,799.57, or 53.1% of the amount to be collected. Several issues were discussed by the board, including beginning discussions on areas to advertise the projects that have been completed and that are ongoing. The board also believes it is time for the entities to begin preparing lists of projects for a potential new specific purpose tax. Representatives from Green River explained that other cities in the state have introduced new ballot initiatives at elections while the prior initiative is still ongoing. Their belief is this would eliminate the steps of stopping collection of the tax when the full tax has been collected and subsequently not require that the new initiative begin collection at the start of a fiscal quarter. I have some questions about this and will be initiating conversation with the county attorney's office to discuss this concept. Tomorrow, I begin my schedule of liaison assignments for the month with Planning and Zoning Board hearing. Thursday, Land Use Director Bingham and I have a meeting with Arrowhead Springs individuals. Friday, I'll join you for the Boost Leadership Academy Mock Commission meeting. And the rest of the month has a full slate of liaison meetings as well as other meetings and functions that will keep me, as usual, very busy. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll end my comments and would stand for any questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Did you say 1.9 million?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Huge jump, $700,000 more than prior month.
Yeah.
Once again, don't have any understanding of why, but
Must
very
be all those
pleased.
rodeo events going on, maybe. Thanks for the report. Any questions for Commissioner Slaughter's report? Not, Commissioner Tolman, the floor is yours.
It's official, fall is here. 22 degrees in Farson this morning. Froze the water and fried my little garden. So summer's over. Sad to say. On the 18th, I attended a coalition of local governments meeting via phone. Trinity Lewis from Representative Hageman's office provided an update on the Fair AI Act, the Energy and Water Development Act, which will provide $14.6 million for the Laramie Canal, the Miles City BLM RMP repeal, the Powder River coal leasing, and the clean resolution for continued government funding, which did not pass the Senate. So we are in shutdown. The Wyoming court ruling found that Rocky Mountain Power was allowed to recoup $23.5 million in reasonable incurred operating expenses from the 2023 rate increase application. The Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement approved Black Butte Mine's mining plan modification to allow about 257 acres of additional surface disturbance to recover federal coal south of I-80 around Bitter Creek. The BLM Greater Sage Grouse Plan amendments were discussed. Revisions to the proposed Resource Management Plan amendment and FEIS were released, and comments were due October 3rd. The CLG and the county submitted comments. The Wild Horse Gather for Great Divide Basin, Salt Wells Creek, and Adobe Town HMAs was delayed until 2026. Bridger Teton National Forest, the coalition submitted comments on the draft assessment on August 24th. The Wyoming Game and Fish Commission voted to recommend consideration of the entire Sublet Antelope Migration Corridor for designation by the governor. Comments were prepared for CLG regarding the USDA notice to prepare an EIS to analyze the impact of rescinding the 2001 roadless rule that was due September 18th. So we'll be ratifying some of those comments in upcoming meetings. CLG comments will be prepared for rescinding the 2024 Conservation and Landscape Health Rule. Comments due November 11th. I received a citizen request to ask citizens not to feed the deer in town. So I'm just doing my duty there. September 19th and 20th, Green River High School Hall of Fame induction. I was inducted and attended the football game and the induction ceremony. Thank you to Commissioner Slaughter and his wife and to others who attended to support me. Special thanks to School District Number 2 and staff for continuing this tradition and for all the hard work that went into making it a success for the inductees. On the 23rd to the 25th, I attended the Wyoming Association of County Officers State Convention. There were many great sessions from Senator Barrasso to Governor Gordon to local government equity investments to cowboy skills and so on. I will just comment on a few of them so I don't steal the thunder from all my fellow board members. The NACO Board of Directors, Terry Wolf from Washakie County Commission and Bill Novotny, Johnson County Commissioner, they provided updates on the national board. I thought the most inspiring speech did come from retired Staff Sergeant Johnny Jones, U.S. Marine Corps. He survived an IED explosion in Afghanistan and learned to walk again with new prosthetic legs, inspired by the words of a nurse who said, "You will walk again." I thought that was powerful. Tara Cooper's consultant presented a workshop to the attendees one day, and then she provided a keynote address. She had some interesting points. Perfectionism. You don't have control, so forget it. Anything can happen at any time, and when it does, you'll cope with it. This is like a Dr. Seuss book, maybe. You'll never live up to the highest expectations placed on you. Flawlessness is a terrible goal. Number 3, there's no such thing as a new start. There will never be a better time than right now. You're not really all that special, so celebrate your insignificance. Points to ponder is kind of the opposite of a regular motivational speech. Think like a scientist, embrace imperfectionism. And we don't need perfect leaders, we need present ones. Thought that was good. So at our Wyoming County Commission Association meeting, the high point that I gathered from that was that U.S. Deputy Kristen Sleeper was a former Senator Barrasso staffer, was president. She's now the deputy secretary over the forest chief. She addressed the group. She discussed the roadless rule and mapping errors and forest planning. I requested that she follow up with the Bridger Teton's decision to not allow Sweetwater County to be a cooperator during their planning process. She seemed surprised that we were denied that. Forest Service Region 2 in Ogden, Utah will be eliminated in a year. Only a small staff shall be maintained in DC. Others will be located closer to the resources in the West, 160 million acres. The Forest Service will focus on land management, recreation, timber, wildfire, and safety. That afternoon, I participated in the Flaming Gorge bus tour and the tour of the dam with the other commissioners. Special thanks to Cindy Swenson, our clerk, and Sally Shoemaker and staff who organized the second successful Waco conference and to the events complex. I heard lots of positive comments. Didn't hear any negative, actually. On the 30th, I came to Green River to work in the office, met with Cindy about our budgeting process. Golden Hour did not hold a meeting this month, so I did not do that. And then on Friday through Monday, I was up on the hill helping the family ship the lambs from the ranch and hauling the sheep back to the desert for the winter. So that's the end of my report.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Any questions for Commissioner Tomlin's report? Not, Commissioner Richards, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Other than the Waco conference, it's been relatively quiet since our last meeting. And I only have a few things to report on. On the 18th, I attended the scheduled quarterly Air Quality Advisory Board meeting, but there wasn't a quorum present, so no business was conducted. Instead, we received an update on staff changes in the Air Quality Division. Of course, on the 23rd through the 25th was the Waco conference. It was a long 3 days, but very productive. And I want to thank Clerk Swenson and, of course, Sally Shoemaker for all the work they did putting it on, and also Tim Knight and the IT staff for their work there at the event as well. During the conference, I broke away for a SCORC steering committee meeting, which was also a pretty short meeting since I was the only member that showed up. It seems to be a consistent theme this month. On the 1st, I met with Wyoming Lottery CEO John Klontz. He updated me on some upcoming legislation they're working on, some new games that they plan to roll out next year, and also that during the years the lottery has been operating, they've provided about $4 million in revenue to Sweetwater County. We also discussed some of their problem gambling spending and ideas to improve those services. Because of the federal shutdown, I canceled the federal partners meeting scheduled for the 3rd, since every one of the local federal employees that normally would have attended have been furloughed. So I don't have any updates there. I did find it interesting that the BLM was still able to publish their notice of intent to initiate the Rock Springs RMP special management amendment, even though they were shut down. Then yesterday, I joined Clerk Swenson as well as some staff for a preliminary demonstration of Civic Plus software that could potentially be considered as a replacement for the meeting management software that we currently use. Going forward on Wednesday, I have a NACO CEWD meeting, SCORC steering committee training, a WCCA conference call, and a SCORC collaborative meeting. That one is in person at Western Wyoming Community College at 6 p.m. If anybody is interested in attending. So that would be Thursday. On Friday, the Rock Springs Chambers Boost Leadership Academy will be here for their Serving to Impact workshop, so I'm looking forward to that. And next week, I have a Dry Piney pre-hearing, a Rock Springs Airport board meeting, but that one might be rescheduled, so I'm not sure which day that'll be on. And that's pretty much all I have. Pretty light schedule, both behind me and in front of me, looks like, but I'm not going to complain because deer season opens on the 15th, so I'll take it. One last thing I want to note is that this week is National Newspaper Week, and this year's theme is Embracing Local Journalism. With that in mind, I want to commend the Green River Star's Hannah Romero on the great article she wrote in last week's newspaper about the nuclear supply chain, and thank her for bringing attention to the subject. I think that's all I have for you today, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Any questions for Commissioner Richards? If not, Commissioner Jones, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the 17th, I attended the Memorial Hospital Sweetwater County Quality Committee meeting. The committee has some new members, so a fair amount of time was spent helping them understand more about quality and kind of what the committee does. On the 23rd through the 25th, as has been pretty well covered, joined you all and participated in various meetings during the Wyoming Association of County Officers. I too thought the meetings and speakers were very informative and educational. Certainly would like to take a second to thank the WCCA for facilitating some excellent meetings for all county commissioners. And my computer just died. Oh, there it is. Huge thank you, as has been mentioned, to Cindy and Sally. This event would not have been pulled off without you. I too heard only good things, not one single complaint or concern. So job well done to both of you. Candy as well, thank you for your folks and the ability to get things done out there. I have no idea how many hours everybody put in to make this event happen, but thank you. It really isn't sufficient, but I'm extremely appreciative. Thanks also goes to the sponsors. Without their support and dollars, the event might not happen. On the 24th, I attended the Board of Health meeting. Normal reports were presented and a new member was recognized. Sounds like at least some of the legislators will be scrutinizing the amount of money spent by the Wyoming Department of Health each year. Ask Kim Lionberger to start to look at how that could negatively affect us locally. Also on the 24th, attended the Memorial Hospital Sweetwater County Finance Committee. The hospital continues to have positive bottom lines at a time many hospitals are struggling financially. A hospital to the northwest of us lost $19.4 million last year. In light of reduced property taxes in that area, they are considering raising the mill levy to make up for the loss in money needed to operate the institution. So I guess taxes were reduced and will be raised to make up for the reduction. At any rate, congratulations to everyone at MHSC for working together and finding ways to be successful not only in care for our citizens, but also financially. Evening of the 24th, I joined you all for dinner and WCCA awards. I'd like to thank and congratulate House Speaker Nyman and Representative J.D. Williams for being awarded Legislators of the Year by the Wyoming County Commission Association. On the 25th, I attended the Joint Powers Telecom Board meeting. Normal reports were given. On the October 1st, I met with Events Complex Director Candy Pendleton to discuss a project for the Events Complex, in part applying for the grant from the state, which involves the 250th celebration of our country next year. Appreciate Candy meeting with me as I approached her several months ago when I was asked to search for projects in order to use the grant money. I spent some time having conversations with a variety of people in the last couple of weeks regarding the BLM RMP, which is open for public comment. So please get involved and comment through email or through the BLM webpage. Did have conversations with folks such as Senator Barrasso, his chief of staff. Excuse me. Representative Hageman, Mr. Bingham, Mr. De Leon, amongst others. On the second, I attended the enterprise meeting where Aspen Medical gave a presentation. I appreciated learning more about Aspen. Finally, I'd like to take a minute to discuss suicide. It's well documented, widely discussed that Wyoming has a very high suicide rate. Sadly, suicide has now struck my family a little over a week ago, not locally, but in Wyoming. Some might not want to talk about these things, but I know personally it's a subject that's real and should be discussed in hopes of preventing the next suicide. Wyoming Department of Health has a suicide prevention webpage. If you pull up the Wyoming Department of Health page and type 988 in the search bar, the first link takes you to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline page. Or if you would like, simply text or call 988. The call or the text is free and confidential. You can then be put in contact with behavioral health services in your community. The webpage has many helpful links that provide a variety of information. Numerous studies have shown that most Lifeline callers are significantly more likely to feel less depressed, less suicidal, less overwhelmed, and more hopeful after speaking to a certified Lifeline crisis intervention specialist. My cousin who took his life fell into the age bracket with the highest suicide rate in Wyoming. Males in Wyoming are more likely to commit suicide than females, so unfortunately we checked both of those boxes. If you know of anyone or suspect anyone considering suicide, please reach out to them. That one call or text may be all that's needed to prevent more tragedy. Even if you don't suspect anything, but just wonder, please reach out. Check in on friends and family often. You never know what's going on in the person's mind, so make that call. In my cousin's case, nobody, and I mean nobody, suspected anything at all. His probation officer and treatment center had no indication at all. In fact, they all said they expected great things in his future. A 30-year friend of my cousin's had a wonderful phone call with him 3 days before he took his life. The phone call was upbeat, fun, and completely normal. So you just never know, but reach out to friends and family. To anyone who is or may contemplate taking your life, reach out for help. Call a friend, call a loved one. You need to know that people love you and people want you alive. Please remember, suicide is a permanent action to a temporary situation. Nothing is so bad that suicide is the answer to your problems. Rest in peace, Justin. I love you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Condolences to you and your family. Very well spoken. Questions or comments for Commissioner Jones's report? If not, I get to be the repetitive one today, so I'll try and keep it brief. After our last meeting, I rushed back here after lunch and was interviewed by some students from the Green River High School to answer a short few questions about the Honorable Mary Toman and her recent induction to the Green River High School Hall of Fame class of 2025. I never heard anything, so I must not have done a very good job.
I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
would
Thank
like
you.
to
Thank you.
Congratulate you on your achievement. Very, very impressive, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Obviously, the bulk of our time over the last few weeks was Waco. And once again, would thank Sally and Cindy and also Tim Knight. We asked Tim to help us out with some of the IT at the events complex, and his team showed up in full force and assisted with that. So special thanks to Candy and the events complex. And I mean, everyone really, it took the whole community to put that on. And we had the tour down to the Flaming Gorge Dam and did, I guess, a halfway loop around and then came back the same way because we were pressed for time. But got to showcase a little bit about Sweetwater and I guess Utah, as much as we hate to admit that. But it was a good time. Lots of good conversations, lots of great presentations. And while I think we were happy to have it in Sweetwater, we're also a little bit happy to see it go. So appreciate everyone for pulling that off. During Waco, I had a couple liaison meetings in and out as well. Young at Heart had their monthly board meeting. Somewhat light agenda. They did recently balance their budget. You might recall they were kind of struggling with that, so they found a way to budget it with the cuts. They've got some newer board members, so they're working on board training and staff training and trying to kind of get some things, I guess, centered, if you will, and get everyone on the same page. So it's good to see in that regard. They heard a presentation from their home delivered meals program and have a waiting list on that because of some of the reduced funding. That evening, I had the events complex monthly meeting as well. Obviously, Candy's here this morning, so you'll hear from her in regards to the summer events recap. So I'll save that to not be repetitive. One item that I think will probably get brought up, but will need to be on our radar is our agreement with the events complex in regards to the Wyoming horse racing expires the end of this year in December. And so there's obviously an appetite to continue on with that. And they have some ideas on maybe shifting some things around. Obviously, that funding currently is for the grandstands and the horse racing facilities. And there may be some opportunity to kind of change it up in regards to some of our capital funding. So likely work with Candy and the board in that regard and see what comes of that. Last week I had the leadership lunch with, it was just Mayor Mickelson and I and the Rock Springs Chamber CEO Rick Lee and their board president. Not a whole lot to discuss there, mainly about upcoming agenda items that we both had coming forth. And then we spent some time discussing the semi-quincentennial that seems to be a hot topic as of late. So we'll see where things head with that. I also received an email yesterday from Travel and Tourism who's expressed an interest in that event. Obviously, we have a presentation proposal today in regards to that. Sounds like the events complex has some ideas as well. So I'm not sure. There's definitely some interest, but I don't know what that looks like as far as who's heading up what, or if we're all working together, but I guess we'll find out more as that comes forth. Last Friday, as been mentioned, we received notice that the Federal Register posted for the notice of intent to amend the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan. And that comment period will end on November 3rd, which is indeed interesting that somehow in the midst of government shutdown that comes out, which is about par for the course on the entire process, I would say. It's amazing how. Anyway, I guess that's a good move overall, and we'll certainly be diving into that. Got the Public Works report from Director Legursky on the building side of the department. The C Street Library Meeting Room remodel is progressing very well. The space should be completed in the next month. The White Mountain Library project is ongoing. They are at approximately 65% done with that remodel. Contractor is striving to make up some lost time there. The Southwest Counseling Jonah Modular exterior parking lot and concrete work are completed, and the roof will be completed by the end of October, weather permitting, and if approved by us later today on the agenda. The Washakie home is complete and the residents have moved back in. The Duran home is complete as well, except for some minor punch list items. The Ankeny facility is still awaiting the finalization of the punch list items, and Southwest Counseling is currently occupying most of that space. The Sweetwater County Combined Facility is progressing. The front building has reached substantial completion with only minor things to be corrected. The back building is progressing well with all of the trades finishing up their items. The final portion of the floor in Building F was sealed this week, and Gene will give us a further detail on that when he addresses us later this afternoon. We will receive the 95% design plans for the White Mountain Library HVAC project. We are still working on controls and the VFD layout with the interconnects. The detention center rooftop unit air handler unit upgrade is ongoing. The contractor set the first of 3 air handler units last week and is working on programming and startup. We're hoping to set the second larger unit at the end of this week. Maintenance staff replaced the 2 exhaust and fresh air intakes at the Health and Human Services building, while the other major projects were on hold. This was a harder project than most outside people realize, and the staff did a great job dealing with the obstacles that come in any renovation project that spans 3 stories. We have been meeting and getting quotations from various vendors on the pieces and parts for the upgrades within the Board of County Commissioners room. If all goes well, we will start and complete this project after the last meeting this year. Maintenance crew handled 51 additional work order requests in September. Over at Road and Bridge, crews are grading roadside ditches from some of the recent rain events, cleaning cattle guards and fixing delineators, getting plows and sanders ready for the inevitable winter. Crews have also been busy asphalt patching various roads around Sweetwater County. In engineering, the County Road 15 9-mile reconstruction road project is complete, and they're working on the minor punch list items. The Roosevelt School Concrete Valley Gutter and Asphalt Patching Project is on today's agenda for approval. We are working with Trout Unlimited on the Ramsey Ranch culvert on County Road 24, which is also on our agenda, and they hope to have that installed later this fall. We completed the request for pricing requirements for the Rock Springs Youth Crisis Home remodel and additional feasibility study. They'll start advertising this project later this week. And the RFP requirements for the Sweetwater County Parks Master Plan are being reviewed. We should have this out to the consultants in the next few weeks. Lastly, in Parks and Recreation, crews are continuing to work on winterizing all the various systems within the parks. The Avengers soccer teams had a large tournament on the weekend of September 20th. Parks personnel received positive feedback from a lot of the visiting teams and coaches regarding the condition of the grass and the overall quality of the venue. And within that packet that was emailed to you all are various pictures of the noted projects. Definitely a busy summer for Public Works, and I'm sure Gene and his crew will be happy to welcome some of that white stuff. As much as we don't like it, that also means there's a little bit of an end to construction. So certainly appreciate Gene and the Public Works Department and Andy for all they do for us. Aside from that, that's pretty much all I have for you, Commissioners. We have the mock commissioner meeting with the Chamber's Boost Leadership Academy this Friday. And I'm sure between now and the next meeting, there'll be plenty of other items coming up. So with that, I'll conclude my report and stand for any questions. And with that, nice work, Commissioners. Always interesting when there's 3 weeks between meetings. It's going to move us right along into tab C, which is the action and presentation items portion of the agenda. Up first is Sweetwater County Events Complex's Summer Events Recap, and joining us is Executive Director Candy Pendleton. Good morning, Candy.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. 1 second here. See, I can't see it now because that TV doesn't work, so bear with me. Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all and your time and your support and the nice comments this morning, so thank you. Wanted to give you a quick update. I try to come every year about this time and tell you how our summer went. As mentioned earlier, with Public Works, we're sort of the same way, right? We try to squish everything we can into 4 or 5 months when the weather is nice. So it's been busy and impactful for Sweetwater County. I wanted to share that with you. So 2025 summer events recap. The picture on the screen is one of our concerts at Fair this year. It was actually Starset, which was our Friday night concert, which we just had tons of comments about, and the production of the show itself was pretty incredible. So it's one of the ones that's pretty fun to highlight. Real quick, our mission is to provide and manage a wide range of quality year-round recreational facilities, services, and programs which enhance the quality of life and economic opportunities for the residents, businesses, and visitors of Sweetwater County. And we want to ensure a vibrant, is it not working? You didn't even get to see my cool picture.
Fortunately, we do have it in our packet.
You do.
The
I did.
Public doesn't get to
I
see
did
it.
throw some other slides in this that aren't in your packet, by the way, but they're at the end. I'm going to keep going. Our vision is to ensure a vibrant, well-maintained facility that offers space for social interaction, embracing change, celebrating people, and enjoying life. And obviously that's where the community comes in. That's where you all come in, is the support for that, and the people that come out and support us and spend money out there. And that money all goes back into our facility. Guiding principles, we talk about this a little bit each time, but we really try to make sure that we're there for public benefits. We want to make sure our facility is improved. The facility was built in 1975, 1976. And while there certainly are some buildings that look like they were built in 75 and 76, I don't think that is the norm out there. I think most of our buildings have been updated and well maintained, and you wouldn't guess that it's a 50-year-old facility. We're uniquely Sweetwater County. Obviously, we can't compete with, places that have these grand new buildings and, the Tetons and all those sorts of things, but we do have great things here and people do appreciate them when we come. Guest experience is very important to us, and sustainability. So the 5 events we hosted this summer, 5 big events we hosted this summer. My crew reminded me of that when we did this here last week for the crew, but the Tiffin Allegro Rally, which was the RV rally that we had this summer, National High School Finals Rodeo, which I know you all got to come out for, Wyoming's Big Show, the Royal Crown event, and Sweetwater's horse racing. So real quick, every year, Wyoming Office of Tourism puts together a packet of tourism spending in the state, and they break it out by county. So we always use those numbers to figure out what our impact was. So this is specific to Sweetwater County and what overnight visitors spend when they come to visit us. So if you check that out, spending per person is typically $109 per night on average, and spending per party is $229 per night. It's up just a tiny bit from 2024, but it is a little bit of an increase. So we did change those numbers a little bit. You'll see we use those numbers differently depending on what event we have. So if we know how many people we have, we use the 109 per person. If we don't, like the RV rallies where we just know how many coaches were here, we use the party number. So here's a cool picture of the Tiffin Allegro Club Rally. They took up the 2 big campgrounds on the top end of our property. They pretty much use the main campus area. They do not go down into the Boris Tusk area or, the Speedway, motocross, that sort of thing, but they use the main campus area. So the clear span tents come in really handy. They put their coaches inside there and do a lot of their events in the tents because they're big enough to do that. You're all right.
It's always when you present, Candy.
I know. It's all the fancy stuff. The tents are awesome for that sort of thing. I will say there are a couple of issues with the tents, and anybody that's been out there knows what those are, right? When the wind blows, you certainly know the wind is blowing. The canvas is meant to move. The tent actually has a little bit of flex in it. which is all normal, but when you're standing in there and the wind gets to whipping, it is a little bit alarming for some people. You have to explain to them that it's all, engineered and it's meant to do that sort of stuff. So there are some limitations with the tent, but we are very, very lucky to have those clear span structures. We would not be able to host the events that we have without those. One of the things that we're seeing more and more is that RV rallies, National High School events in general are taking more time for sort of social spaces, right? It's not necessarily about sitting in a meeting room. It's not about flag presentations or talking about who the board members are. It's more about connecting with people. So we have a couple of spots out there where we make these little sections where people can connect. The Spicer Pavilion is a great one. This happens to be where we had our beer service area, but it's where people are coming together, and that's what people want to do for the most part. So we're trying to make more space for that. And then I mentioned our community and our county. One of the things that was offered this year was a Jeep tour during the rally, and it was just offered by a local resident that said, hey, I love to go out in my Jeep and play around, and I would love to take a couple of people with me if they're interested. And so Dawn from Plan 1, and I've lost her last name for a second, but took a couple of groups out in their Jeeps, and they got to go visit Sweetwater County, and they did two different ones. One where you wanted to keep your Jeep in good condition, no scratches, no brush marks, no flat tires, right? And that one was packed full. And then they did a second one that she called intermediate, where you didn't care if you got a few scratches and things on there. And they loved it, absolutely loved it. So here's the numbers for that event. We've had this event 3 times. They were one of the first rallies we hosted in 2019. So we had them in 2019, 2022, and now back in 2025. We're in conversations with them about 2028. So it's always good when people want to return. They like Sweetwater County. They like our people. They love to get out and explore, and we have lots of that available. So this event basically ran from June 8th to July 1st with the pre and post rally. We had 465 coaches. That photo that I showed you earlier was 465 motor coaches. Almost 3,500 rally nights, 57 stay and play nights. So about $815,000 in spending in Sweetwater County when they were here. Most of the RV rally people are either full-time RVers or they're retirees, and they're looking to spend a little extra time when they come, and we encourage them to do so. Whoa. National High School Finals Rodeo was fantastic. This is the 8th time that we have hosted the National High School Finals Rodeo. And again, thanks to everybody's support, it was just an awesome community event, and we saw people from all over the country. They used every single nook and cranny of our facility and spread out into the county. So for those of you there, you will know that it is sort of outgrown what we have to offer. We have squeezed everything we can possibly squeeze out of it, and without a little bit of extra RV parking and spaces out there, and of course the facilities that they want, we don't anticipate that National High School will be back, but it's been a fantastic 8 years, and they certainly put us on the map. So we used all 3 arenas. The Grandstand Arena had 2 performances a day. The indoor arena hosted cutting, and the Yellowstone Arena, which is right on the main road there, hosted the working cow horse. We also used the shooting range and the trap club. So Green River Shooting Range and the Sweetwater County Trap Club. Green River was fantastic. Chris Bradford and Jean Legursky with the county were fantastic. We honestly don't do a lot. The events complex staff doesn't have to do much with shooting sports, as those 2 entities sort of take that and run with it. And it's been really, really nice. So hats off to Chris Bradford and the Parks and Rec from Sweetwater County. Here are the numbers for the National High School Finals for 2025. We had 1,779 contestants, 2,169 entries, 6 countries and 53 states and provinces. A couple of our local numbers, we had 1,417 campers on site, and we had 338 vendor booths in the tents. So it was packed. Interestingly enough, this is the first time we saw a decrease in contestants. There were actually 50 less contestants than we had in 2024. It's the first time we've seen any sort of decrease since we started hosting in 2012. Certainly may just be a blip, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with that as they move forward. And the numbers for National High School are always impressive. It just brings such impact to our community. And this does not count the impact across the state, because we know a lot of people when they're traveling in spend a night or 2 in other parts of the state. So this is just Sweetwater County impact. National High School Finals Rodeo brings in approximately $11 to $12 million this year. So there's two different ways that we calculated that. I always want to be upfront about how that works. So those two calculations are in your packet. You can see how that worked, but I don't think there would be any question if you were driving around that there is a huge impact when those events are in our area. Right after that, 4 days or so after that, we go right into our Wyoming's Big Show, the Sweetwater County Fair. We have all the traditional fair events, 4-H and FFA activities, vendor and concession booths, family entertainment, concerts, carnival, fireworks, silent disco, you name it. We have all of those fun things at Wyoming's Big Show. My favorite event of the year by far, always has been, probably always will be. Economic impact for the fair is just over $4 million, broke up by resident and in-county spending. One of the things that people talk about when they talk about tourism spending, obviously, is we want to invite people in here, and it's sort of a heads and beds deal, right? We want people to come into our community and spend money. But I argue all the time that we also want the people that live in our communities to stay here and spend money. And if we give them things to do and activities and concerts and all those things, they'll stay here and not go to Salt Lake or Casper or Cheyenne or Denver. So that's what we try to do, is give them reasons to stay in Sweetwater County and spend their money locally. So $4 million is pretty impressive. We had about 21% of the people that came to the fair come from out of county. We typically advertise about a 100-mile radius, but we reach about 400 miles if you look at the map on the ticket sales. So. I love sharing photos. So here's a few photos of this year's event. Obviously, lots of kids having a great time out there, but also families, and the livestock's a big part of it. The entries, this happens to be the little girl with the cookies in the photo. This is the first year she's entered. She won grand champion, I believe, with her chocolate chip cookies. She was over the moon. I think sometimes we lose those things when we talk about fair and concerts and fireworks, right? We lose the other part of it, which is the 4-H and livestock and canning and growing your own vegetables and all that sort of thing. But it's still out there, right? It's still out there, and we want to celebrate those things. A couple more photos. And then just a few comments. I'll let you have them in your packet, obviously, but a couple of things that came up this year. The Star Set production I told you was fantastic. They had pyrotechnics, they had video screens. It really was just one of the coolest things I have ever seen as far as production goes. Not my favorite kind of music, gonna be straight up with you. That's not something I listen to on the radio, but it was really, really cool to watch. And I say it every year, if we could all just stretch ourselves a little bit and see something different, or go to something different that you wouldn't normally see, maybe you'll see something cool. Star Set was definitely one of those things. Interestingly, we talked about wind earlier, and the wind is always an issue for us, but for Star Set to use the pyrotechnics that they used, the wind had to be 7 miles per hour or less. And so that morning we met with the team, and we were like, oh, why are we even putting it up? You know, why are we putting it out there on the stage? There's no way that this is going to happen. And the night was perfect. And so we couldn't have asked for better weather, and that all went out without a hitch. Now, the day before that, for those of you that came to Hinder, during the Hinder concert, we actually had to shut the show down early because the wind came in at about 50 miles an hour, like that, and sort of started taking some pieces off the stage, and things were going crazy. And I will give hats off to emergency management and our crew. They were able to get everybody off the stage, get the crowd out of the way, and everybody was safe, which is not something you want to deal with, but certainly nice to know that we were prepared for something like that. Again, 2 days later, we went into Royal Crown Barrel Racing. This is one of the big indoor arena events that we host. We fill up every stall, so 790 stalls were rented. 3,100 nights worth of stalls. We had 163 trailers with full hookups and 913 trailers with dry camping nights, and 2,600 bags of shavings that our crew delivered. So again, not a huge impact as far as, the other numbers that you saw, National High School and Fair, but for a 4 or 5 day event, bringing in $350,000 to Sweetwater County, we can do that every weekend, right? We'll do that every weekend if we have that opportunity. And then rolled right into Sweetwater Downs horse racing. They just completed last weekend, actually. So Sweetwater Downs horse racing, as you're all aware, brings quite a bit of money into Sweetwater County. So historic horse racing revenues for this half Rock Springs has received $600,000, Green River's received $176,000, and the county to date has received $776. Yeah, $776,842 to be exact. So we're on track in Sweetwater County to get $1.5 million back from historic horse racing in 2025. We've talked about the growth of this, but since COVID, the growth of this has been just exponential. We had a 16% growth last year. We're on track for 6.5% this year. And those are real numbers, real money that comes back into your budget. So that's a nice little bonus for Rock Springs, Green River, and Sweetwater County. And we do get 30% of that we've been able to put into the facility and grandstands improvements. So that's been a nice partnership with you all. Economic impact of the 2025 events was $18.5 million spent in Sweetwater County. So keep in mind, that's just those 5 events. We have lots of little events in there, other events, stuff throughout the year. So I'll come back and give you a review when we get into February, probably of the whole year. But for the summer, the $18.5 million spent in Sweetwater County is something that we're proud of. You guys should be proud of. The community should be proud of. And then these are the photos that aren't in your thing that you can't see. So we have a really cool staff photo that we had done during National High School Finals Rodeo, finally, of our full-time staff. And I say it every time I'm over here. They really are the workhorse behind this whole thing, right? I say we redid this, we redid that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not out on the grounds doing that, right? It's the crew that does that. They work their tails off. So we have 16 full-time people, and they're the ones that do all of that stuff that we talked about. So I wanted to make sure you could see some faces and our cool t-shirts that we have on, but you're just gonna have to imagine it. So what's next? We have a couple of things on the horizon. One of them, as mentioned a couple of times already, is there is a grant currently available for the semi-quincentennial, I don't know, I can never spit that word out, America's 250th birthday. I have been talking to Commissioner Jones about possibly putting a grant together for the county. So we have in our master plan a silo project. And what we have figured out is that we could tie that to this America's 250 grant. We would call it the legacy silo. So it is a silo gazebo, sort of gives a nod to agriculture in Wyoming and what our history was, while allowing something for us to use currently and something that we will have down the road, right? So legacy silo is what we're calling it. It would have a silo gazebo, a patio area, and in that there would be 5 to 7 historical photos with QR codes to get some history about Wyoming. Thought we could work with the Sweetwater County Museum or the Historical Society and put out some ranching information, right? Maybe we highlight the Tolman Ranch, maybe we highlight Talaferros, maybe we highlight Secotniks in Farson. But it could be a really cool way to take some historic photos, put them on a sign in that silo area with a QR code to tell the story about where we came from. And we're not huge agriculture based right now, right? That's not our main industry, but it is certainly a big part of where we came from. So we have this legacy silo project in the works and working to try to figure out whether we could fit that grant. Nick Nalon with the Wyoming Parks, I believe, is in charge of that. Called him multiple times, can't get a call back. So I'm still trying to work, but there are 2 grants available, a $10,000 grant and a $25,000 grant. Not sure exactly how that all works. And Commissioner Jones and I have been trying to figure that out, if the commission has to come up with one project or if they submit multiple projects. And I will try to keep you informed. But we do have a project that we could do at the events complex that would be a nice fit. And I have some great photos of it in this packet that I'll email to you. I do have some inspiration photos so you can see what they would look like, where it would be placed on our property, how big it would be, all of that sort of stuff. And then in other news, because we did had such a busy summer and our revenues are actually up a little bit, I do believe we have the revenues to do a couple of the capital projects that were on our list without having to ask the county for money. So we are right now exploring refinishing the sheep barn. For those of you that remember, it is the building that I said to you at the beginning that looks like it's from 1976. That is the building that still looks like that. I think we have the revenue internally to redo the siding and the doors in that building and upgrade that for the 4-H sheep barn and possibly do the indoor arena boiler. Any questions?
Thanks, Candy. Appreciate the slides for sure. Just kidding. Sorry, I don't know why. It's you and Janessa. Every time you guys come present, our IT never works. So
That's the first time I've had issues. I will give your IT credit. Usually it works pretty well, so.
yeah.
Mr.
Used to
Chairman,
blame Mary, but we can't blame her anymore. So
My fault.
It's his
Yeah.
fault now. I just have a suggestion. You know, you have a picture of the Tetons above the office inside the hall.
Yes,
What about Boar's Tusk or the Green River or something in the
Yes.
county? Just an idea.
absolutely. And we do have, Commissioner Toman, Chairman West, we do have county photos all around the facility. If you
Right.
happen to see those that have the QR codes on them, much like I mentioned, that take you to that location. So we do have some of those. We purchased those, Commissioner Toman, to put up there because it was boring beforehand, but I will work on local stuff.
Thank you.
anything but the Tolman Ranch.
There you go.
Just kidding. No, I think it's a great idea. And I don't know where, I mean, I kind of mentioned it in my comments about the semi-quincentennial. It just feels like everyone's jumping in and that's a good thing, but I hate to be competing with one another if, if there are a couple grant opportunities available and we have a little bit of confusion on, it sounds like the county's supposed to form a committee and then we apply on behalf, we're not sure. And I think Commissioner Jones has reached out to Nick as well and has been unsuccessful, but I appreciate the fact that you're trying to go after that. That's a lot easier for you guys than us. So we'll continue to dig in. I know there's a lot of other interested, entities that want to take part in that, but we'll get together with you on that. And certainly a tremendous job this summer putting on all those events, a huge impact economically. 18.5 million it's unheard of. So job well done to you and your team and certainly all the behind the scenes that takes place there. Questions, comments, commissioners?
Thank you.
Put them all to sleep, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. One more quick comment on the grant, and that's just that the deadline is the end of December. So we are very much approaching a submit it or lose it sort of time frame. So hopefully we get some answers, but the deadline is the end of December.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thanks, Candy. Appreciate you coming over. It's going to move us right along into item number 2 under tab C of the action and presentation items, which is the Sweetwater County Library System Annual Report. Joining us today is Library Director Lindsay Travis. And I believe Deb's on the board. Is that right?
Sure.
Deb Sutton, the chairman of the board. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Deb is handing out a few gifts and some handouts for everyone. We don't like to come empty-handed.
You know us too well.
There's chocolate in there, just so you know.
Thanks.
I know Mary likes chocolate.
She needs a little sweetening up.
Hey, be careful down there. Not taking a chance on the video up there, huh?
While Deb finishes handing those out, I'll get started. I'm going to start today with a few real life situations that happen in our libraries. An older patron walks into one of our libraries and needs to print out documents for an upcoming medical procedure. She doesn't know how to navigate the health insurance website or how to print out documents, and the patron is upset and desperate for help. A librarian works for about 20 minutes helping that patron help her print out what she needs. Another example, a family of 5 walks into the library. They're homeschooled. A librarian helps them check out books to use in their homeschool lessons, and the librarian tells them about the upcoming programs that a family may be interested in attending. The family then uses those programs to supplement their homeschool curriculum. A parent of a toddler comes in and asks about literacy resources for their child. The library directs them to our weekly toddler time programs that include stories and activities for children under 3. The library also shows them the picture book section of the libraries. And then it's Friday at noon, and the librarians are cleaning up from one of our Family Friday programs in Rock Springs. More than 100 people were in attendance at the program, and many families are still gathered talking and checking out books in the library's youth section. There's a stereotype that librarians spend their days reading, and that libraries are quiet places, but those are both stereotypes are very inaccurate. Our librarians are busy helping connect patrons with information, with technology, with literacy, and with activities, all of which improve the quality of life in our communities. And our libraries are not typically quiet places. Oftentimes they are loud, full of families and children having fun, and they're always a welcoming place for everyone. So I did email the annual report to you, but also or it should be in the board packets. But Deb handed out a printed copy. So I'm going to kind of just go through our fiscal year 25 annual report. We saw a lot of changes in fiscal year 25, most notably the closure of several of our meeting rooms for renovations, but we also updated our meeting room policy and the library's code of conduct. The second page of the annual report looks a little bit at our funding and how the funding that the library receives is spent. Obviously, we are primarily funded by the county. And about 98% of our funding comes from the county. We also receive a little bit of funding from the city of Rock Springs, the Library Foundation, and School District Number 1. We aren't a revenue generating entity. I don't think we ever could be a revenue generating entity. But 80% of our funding is used on administration. Our personnel is very important to us, but that is the highest cost. 2.79 million of last year's budget went towards personnel, so payroll, health insurance, and Wyoming retirements. After that, other operating costs are the next highest part of our budget, about 6%. That includes everything from paper, office supplies for programs, materials processing, janitorial supplies, vehicle maintenance, leases for our branches, and our consortium fees. Library materials take up about 5% of the budget. That includes all physical books, DVDs available for checkout, and our digital items for Libby and Hoopla. Utilities are about 4% of the budget. Computers and technology are about 3% of our budget, and that's for all of our staff and patron computers, security cameras, phone system, and internet access. And then maintenance is about 2% of our budget. That's kind of a little breakdown on how we spend our funds. If you go to the next page, we have our checkouts for fiscal year 25. Do I have that in the right order? I think it's program. Do I have checkouts in the right order? Anyways, checkouts. Our total checkouts for fiscal year 25 were 245,000. It was about a 0% increase. So we were about even when it came to checkouts. Physical checkouts dropped a little bit, 169,000, and digital checkouts went up. So really, people are reading differently. Digital checkouts are increasing with ebooks. So that's a 10.2% increase of people who are checking out things digitally, which I think is pretty cool. Our cell phones and smartphones have helped us reach more people through the libraries. I also have a breakdown of the checkouts. So 51% of our collection is checked out from the adult section. 44% is checked out from the juvenile collection, and 5% is checked out from the young adult or teen collection. So we are trying really hard to get more teens into the library. It's kind of a hard demographic. Teenagers in middle school and high school they're busy with a lot of sports and other activities. So if we take a quick look at the programs that we have, the programs are the library's biggest draw. People come in droves to our library programs. We hosted 1,082 programs last fiscal year. Those programs included everything from weekly story times to toddler times to adult activities and passive or drop-in activities that are not scheduled at certain times. Our program attendance was up 27.4% over last fiscal year, with a total of 50,129 people attending programs in the library. Attendance at youth programs was up 21.6% for a total of 39,959. And our attendance at outreach programs, or those programs that are specifically designed for a specific audience, like a class, was up 50% for 9,412 attendees. Our summer reading program also saw an increase of 3.8%. So we're doing really well in the programming side. We have great staff putting together programs that are drawing people in. Lots of fun activities for people in our community. One of the big things I wanted to highlight this year was some of the partnerships that we have within our community. One of the ways we reach more people throughout our libraries is to partner with other entities. So this page in the annual report gives a little glimpse at some of the partnerships, definitely not a full, complete list. But one of the things I want to highlight is our partnership with the Wyoming State Parks. Patrons can come into the libraries and check out a free day use park pass, and along with a backpack, maps, and binoculars and other family-friendly things for a family outing at one of the state parks. So they can visit one of our state parks for free. We also partner with the Green River Recreation Department, Downtown Rock Springs, Green River Art Council, the school districts for lots of programs. We participate in all of their literacy events, the Sweetwater County Museum and Golden Hour Senior Center. Also, lots of businesses in town that we partner with for different programs. The Library Foundation gives us funding every year for library programs and services that are above and beyond what the taxpayer dollars can support. So in fiscal year 25, these are some of the things that they funded. The permanent story walk that's along the trail around the Green River Rec Center. That's a picture book that is displayed you can enjoy while you walk around the trail. They completely funded our summer reading program. That's all of the funding for every program that we have throughout the summer, along with prizes to support that program. They also paid for a desk for the Children's Discovery Center and to refresh some of the toys that are in that section. They also partnered with Sweetwater County School District Number 1 to bring in an author to visit the schools and to have a public event. Jennifer Nielsen's a great children's author who writes historical and fantasy novels for kids. And then, of course, we have our grant-funded projects, our meeting room renovations that are funded through the Wyoming Library Multipurpose Facility Program Grant. The Green River room is back up and open, and it's fantastic to have that new space for patrons. The Rock Springs one is still under construction, but should be done very soon. And then the White Mountain one, I'm hoping will be done before the end of the year. We also have the White Mountain HVAC program, or grant that the county supported to replace the HVAC at the White Mountain Library. That system is almost completely designed, so hopefully it'll be out for bid soon. And I really do appreciate the county's support on all of those grant-funded projects. So do you have any questions for me?
Thanks, Lindsay. Questions, commissioners, comments? Well, it's been a busy year for you guys as well, as usual, and sounds like numbers are maintaining around the increase, so that's always a good sign, and we'll certainly be excited to see some of those projects come to fruition, and I think some much needed upgrades. Just, time slips away and you realize, or you forget rather,
Yep.
how old some of the facilities are. So job well done on trying to keep up with that and improve them for the community to enjoy. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks. And with that, commissioners, we are just about right on track. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. We're going to take a quick break. We'll resume back for a proclamation at 10:30. So that's about a 13-minute break.
No, I have to get somebody to hold my hand.
We will call this meeting back to order. I was threatened this morning that I had to keep this on pace today. I won't say by who, but we're so far doing pretty good. So hopefully, keep the ball rolling here. This is item number 4 under tab C. We've got Domestic Violence Awareness Month proclamation, and joining us this morning is YWCA Executive Director Melinda Boss. And good morning to you, Melinda.
Morning. Thank you again. I always laugh when I have to do this each year. I kind of look and make sure, what jacket did I wear last time? So I don't look like I'm doing the same thing every year. So no, no bright purple sparkly one. We're going to go with a little simple this year. So again, it is October for our Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I do appreciate your willingness to do a proclamation, to put the word out. It might seem a small thing, but anything we can do to make this often too hidden problem visible is more important. The domestic violence is a crime that happens frequently, all the time, every community. I still remember when I taught a class at the college and this one student came up and goes, "Oh my goodness, I had no idea this was happening here in Sweetwater." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's happening everywhere, every small town. Every place I've lived in Wyoming has had a domestic violence shelter, had a program, and had victims. Because this is too prevalent. It's too often there. And as much as we want to say we're going to get rid of this, we're going to stamp it out, it's going to take a lot, and it takes a community to do it. It takes each of us being that resource to our friends and to our neighbors, because to be honest, they're often going to call you before they call us, because they're going to talk small things. Well, it's just kind of rough. I can't go. They won't let me come. We don't have enough money. Oh, I don't get the car today. I can only do it certain times. Things are, oh, I can't do that. They don't like it when I do that. Or kind of limited. I can't always have the job. Or you get the constant calls when your employee is at the job and they're like, "Well, I can't stay. I have to go home. This happened. This happened." And you begin to realize that there's a bigger thing going on. Too often you don't realize it until you're standing in the middle of it. And then you see, okay, now I understand what's going on. But essentially, that's why we ask for this. We ask for these proclamations because it helps us see what the impact really is in our community. So I do have some numbers that I thought I would share. This is just from August of this year. So I happen to have them. We had 65 clients come into the office that day, or that month, 57 of them being brand new. So most of our clients were brand new. If you're curious about a little bit of the statistics, 14 were male, 49 female. We had a wide range of ages. Most of them were 25 to 59. Same statistics that are often for suicide and prevention. And I did want to add that. That was an impressively sad story that you shared. That is one thing that our crisis line has started actually taking, because they are a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis line. They get calls from, was it 411? I almost said 811, but that's the digging. That's digging. From the emergency crisis line for suicide prevention. We actually have had training for our advocates because they get those calls as well. It often ties in with domestic violence, but sometimes it doesn't. So we ask them to be prepared for it. When you look at the kind of services we do, 45 of those clients were domestic violence or sexual assault clients, 20 stalking and harassment, one of the most common things. Once you leave your relationship, it doesn't always end. I knew someone who, she told me the story. She had left him finally. He had actually moved out of town, gave her the opportunity of a lifetime to leave him, got the divorce started, got everything going. He came back. And then even though they were separated and eventually divorced, he started following. He knew the limit of the protection order and stayed 2 feet beyond it. I'm like, really? Just really? Then even went to the extreme of trying to date her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend just to mess with somebody. This is the level that some of these batterers and abusers go to. When you look at the kinds of services, 70 of our services for the year were individual advocacy. There were 81 days of individuals in our shelter. And we filed 5 different protection orders in just 1 month. So these are the kind of statistics we can see here in just even 1 month for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as the really hard cost of those lives lost. Each year, it's sad to say we keep losing them. We have this coming Friday, there is a memorial in in Evanston. It's the statewide Silent Witness Initiative. These are the living silhouette memorials of victims who have died from domestic violence. There are now 13 in Sweetwater County. One of the newest is being inducted this year, and that is Angela Cunningham. I think many of you remember the story less than a year ago of a murder-suicide, where he took things to an extreme. After years of control and abuse and attempts to leave and attempts to go together, he killed her in the same house with the children. And so it's forever scarring a family and a community. I didn't personally know them, but I heard 4 different people reach out, having a connection that are just worked with and connected to the why, already knowing that family, and how hard that would be for everybody that had to deal with it. So if you have any chance to see it or to look at it, the Silent Witness Initiative is pretty powerful. We are doing our own memorial this coming, the 17th, which is next Friday, not this Friday. It is our vigil and glow run. So we decided to make it as much family friendly as possible. So I do have a couple flyers if anybody does want one, but I think we sent one so they could be included in your packets, but I'm not sure. It is at the Young at Heart Senior Center on the 17th at 6:15 is when the ceremony is going to start. 6 o'clock is when we invite everyone there. So we encourage people to come. We honor the 13 now victims that are from Sweetwater County. And then we do a rock run. You can choose which way you want to go with all of our lit up glow items as best we can around the community. And then back for that night to have it. If weather doesn't like us much, then we'll stay in and just celebrate. We'll have some resources there as well for anyone looking for, what do I do? How do I help? Where can I go? We also have each one of the stories of the victims up on our Facebook page. So if you ever want to go there, you can see each one of the stories shows up each day during the month. So, but I do appreciate you taking the time, because prevention and awareness are the only ways we're going to ever end this, is making this problem stop staying in the hiding shadows where it is and come out and recognize what it is. And each person saying, no, just don't talk like that. No, I'm not going to leave you alone. Doesn't matter if you're being pushed back. Don't let them. Stay there. I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be there to help. I remember my best story with this woman told about, she got a call from her friend. She's like, hi, I finally left him. I've got me and the 3 kids in the car. There's about half a tank of gas and I don't even have any money. What can you do to help? We want to know that we want you to know that we will be there as resources. We will try to fill as many of the gaps as we can. But again, it's going to take longer. When we did our domestic violence program, it's part of our YWCA. And we look at it as saying, great, we've got them out, we've got them there, we've got a shelter. Well, how do they start in life again? How do they pick up all over again? Everything from a birth certificate they didn't have, to gas for the car, to jobs, to childcare. In the last year, 5 different shelter clients have ended up coming into our childcare to be able to stabilize and have a way to get a job, to get new income, to get a house of their own. Each of those are steps along the way, and we need a whole community together to do it. So I appreciate that. I did bring my little cup of bracelets again. You don't have to, either even some pens for those of you who do not like them. I'm not going to wear a bracelet, but we have those around town, so you can always wear our bracelets as well. That shows your interest in your caring. And there are numbers that you can also give that helps people as well. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, otherwise I'll certainly come up.
Did you add your 14th one, John Malone?
That is up to the families to choose if they will add them. So I know Angela was being inducted this year because I talked to her mother. She was the one who got that in. So if he would like to, they can get in touch with us or the coalition and have them included as well. So usually it has to be ruled a domestic violence homicide, and that's where they can go with it. So sadly, I know that doesn't help a lot with our missing and murdered Indigenous clients, because oftentimes those are never been adjudicated, but sometimes that is there. Any other questions?
Questions or comments, commissioners? Well, thanks, Melinda. It's you deal with some tough stuff. I can't imagine the phone calls you all receive and the walk-ins and the unfortunate aspect of us having to deal with that as a community, but certainly for those individuals that are going through that, I'm glad there are resources available and you guys continue your efforts. So anything we can do to help, I guess, proclaim that and make that awareness be known, then we're all on board. So thank Thanks for continuing to come over and see us each year.
Thank you.
And with that, as you're passing those out, I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, which says, whereas the YWCA of Sweetwater County recognizes and participates in outreach and awareness efforts as part of Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. And Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides opportunities for citizens to learn more about the impact domestic violence has on the community, learn ways to support victims, and better understand the resources available to help our community members. And domestic violence is more than just physical abuse, but also involves many ways one individual tries controlling the lives of another individual through emotional, sexual, and financial abuse. And 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. And too often, the victims of abuse and violence in Sweetwater County feel isolated and alone, thinking there is no way to leave the abuse. It is only through a community of support that they can break the cycle of abuse. And the YWCA provides trained advocates and services like a crisis line, emergency shelter, and support to help victims become survivors. And the government and citizens of Rock Springs, Wyoming fully recognize the need to treat victims with dignity and compassion. Now, therefore, we, the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners, hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we call upon our citizens to stand together against domestic violence and offer support and understanding to survivors. In an effort to raise awareness for this important issue, the YWCA will host the 3rd annual Purple Glow Run Walk on October 17th, 2025, beginning at 6 p.m. at the Young at Heart Senior Center. The event will include a memorial for victims who have died because of violence through the Silent Witness Memorial and a family-friendly walk around with a purple glow-in-the-dark theme. And Commissioners, I'd entertain a motion to approve the proclamation as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make that motion.
Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Toman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is unanimous. Would you like a picture?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
Usually I get when somebody. People in red. You're gonna have to switch side of that. Switch further. Turn side, then it'll work. Yeah. Don't want to burn it up. That works. Oh, we have to sign. You have to sign. We'll get you a copy though. All right. I didn't know if anybody in the audience might want bracelets. Okay. Let me step back and.
Thanks again, Melinda. Next on the agenda, under tab C, is item number 5. We've got a proposal request for the county to form a committee for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And joining us today is Storm Adcock, a retired school teacher, and Bridget Nelson from Green River High School. And it looks like some of the students. The floor is your all.
Now I'm nervous.
Don't be.
Okay,
Good morning.
I'll try. Anyway, my name is Storm Adcock. I'm a retired teacher from the high school. Reason I'm here, I'll give you just a little bit of an introduction to myself. So thank you. In 1976, I was newly married. I was a children's librarian in a very small county in Western Kentucky. And as a member of the library, it was my job to create opportunities for the kiddos to celebrate. And it was wonderful. Coming up with this anniversary for I'm too short. Okay, thank you. So it was my opportunity to think of ways for the kiddos to learn about and to support. It was a small county, and yet everyone, it seemed, in the county participated. and even years later, we all had such good memories of that particular event in our county. Stand here with two things that I would like from y'all. To begin with, I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And as such, I have family ancestors that were part of the revolution. So I've got an interest in this upcoming anniversary. Now that America 250, the state DAR has a plaque that they want to post in the western side of the state. This local DAR, the High Desert DAR, has looked at and found that the Thomas Moran Park at the western edge of Green River would be an ideal location for that plaque. The criteria for selection were historical significance, westward expansion, so on and so forth. In that park, you can oversee the Union Pacific Railroad, which of course, and see the Palisades as the railroad was being built, the Green River, the Wesley Powell, and Interstate 80. There are, when I was out there taking pictures, I saw 5 cars pull up at about 8 o'clock in the morning. Adults got out and kids exploded, ran around looking, reading, double checking on what was out at that Moran Park. And it was quite charming. So we decided that that would be a really nice location for that particular plaque. Ann Holman is, and I believe you have her address kind of in my handwriting. Ann Holman is the historian for the DAR, and she, as part of her criteria, needs a letter from those overseeing bodies that says, yes, we agree, we have buy-in with this particular plaque. And hopefully you have a picture of the plaque I'm talking about. Now then, for that plaque to be installed and that we agree with the premise of putting the plaque there. My second request, and maybe I'm a little bit late, but my second request is doing research and noticing all the things that y'all are overseeing. I would request that you as a group suggest, direct, ask the various organizations that you are overseeing to create a plan to celebrate this particular unique event in our county, in our country. So whatever sector these that you oversee. So for instance, the senior citizens to create plans that they submit to you guys and say, here's how we are going to celebrate this unique event. Also suggest that it would be really nice if y'all would give them a small stipend so that they could maybe fund something unique and special. I would also ask that this, with each group, that they create a historic archive, digital pictures that could be published and shown that everyone in the county is, stepping together and finding ways to celebrate their particular area of expertise, of interest. Hopefully to get these plans organized with you guys by January, and then for the remainder of the year, find those celebratory events and celebrate them. Now, again, Western Kentucky was delightful, and it was great fun 50 years later to say, yeah, this was a good time. Now, my husband and I have only lived here 30 plus years. So we're not natives, but I was teasing him this morning. My notes are on Rocky Mountain elk paper. So.
Very Wyoming.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, we love it here. And I think that it would be great fun to have kiddos in the future say, boy, there were a lot of neat learned a lot as this particular historic event comes and goes. Any questions?
Well, thanks very much. We appreciate the background and info. I think you helped clarify some of my questions. There's a lot of conversation about I like that you're calling it the 250th because no one else can pronounce the semi-quincentennial. We're not even sure if we're pronouncing that right, but We had a brief discussion this morning in regards to it and making plans, and there's different interest groups out there that are wanting to put some type of an event together, and we're not sure exactly what that looks like, if that's, multifaceted or if it's just, one committee or group that organizes the whole thing that touches on different areas throughout the communities. We're not quite there yet. We're not sure, but it sounds like, you agree with the need for that, but also kind of on a sidebar, you're wanting a dedication for this plaque. Am I understanding that right?
You've got it, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I guess with the idea of talking to you guys early and maybe often, but early, saying we don't want to duplicate. There are far too many highly creative folks in this area that can come up with some unique ways to demonstrate our interest and our desire to celebrate. So if we have a group somewhere that we can kind of, as a clearinghouse, so to speak, where we can make sure that we're not duplicating, and perhaps where we can share information. One person, for instance, has background or key information that another group could use. So as a clearinghouse, so to speak.
Yeah, and we're aware of some potential grant opportunities that are
Yes.
available as well, but there again, we hate to go after them if we have competing interests, and so we're working with our events complex has interest, travel and tourism has expressed interest, and I know there's others, so
Okay.
but we'll continue to work on that and we'll keep you apprised. One question I have on the plaque is the park that you've identified is the Thomas Moran Park, I believe you stated, which is in City of Green River, so they
Yes.
manage that park.
Yes.
Are you working with them? Because obviously that would be their call in regards to that.
The city of Green River, I'll be meeting with the council this evening.
Okay.
Parks and Rec has drafted a letter. Mr. Core, Steve Core, has kind of, is overseeing some of that. Now, Parks and Rec has written a letter. The city of Green River, I believe, is going to either write a letter or, in effect, kind of sign on to that particular letter. What I'm asking from you is to make sure that the state or the state historian knows how serious we are about the idea that we would like to have a special opportunity to commemorate
Okay.
this. So again, you guys are icing on the cake.
Little letter of support, more or less.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, the historical significance and the idea that, yes, the city and the county is behind this effort.
Okay. Questions, comments, commissioners? Commissioner Slaughter?
Mr. Chairman, I think just one comment. I think it would be appropriate for us to make sure that the city is on board with this. I mean, it's one thing for us to state, yes, we're in favor of this, but I think it would be appropriate for us to make sure that the governing body who actually owns that park or has the administration of that park is in favor of this. And once that's done, I would believe it would be no problem whatsoever, and I would like to support that. But I think we might be jumping the gun just a little bit, depending upon how the support was done and how the letter was written. So just a comment to think about it, how we may do that.
And I suppose one of my thoughts are, I don't like a surprise. So this is perhaps a heads up, if that makes sense to this could, again, the county. So
And
point taken.
help me out. So it was the High Desert American Revolution
Daughters of.
Okay, excuse me. That is where these letters of support would be addressed to obtain funding for that? Is that what the request is?
No, the
No?
request is that you approve of the use and are behind the use of the Thomas Moran Park
Mhm.
as an area to house this particular plaque, that you are in favor of that.
Sure.
Now then, the funding is a separate issue and we're not asking for money. The funding is, again, something else it's been taken care of in another venue, another area.
That's what the students are for. Butter them up, right? Get some
Yes.
additional funds.
Yes.
Additional comments, questions, commissioners? Well, I think we can certainly touch base with City of Green River. Sounds like they're on board, but we'll verify that and we can try and put together a letter of support. I assume we're all in favor of that, pending some clarification on the items. And we can get that to you. We probably will take action on it maybe at our next meeting. How soon are you needing this?
This is an initiative that is nationwide. So, and again, a little bit of background. My father used to run a foundry. And I know that when you are running a foundry, it is better to be on the top of the to-do list than on the bottom of the to-do list. So I would rather be number 20 on the list as opposed to number 49. So again, trying to make sure that we're as high on the list of the casting as possible.
Very good. We can work with that. I'll just touch base with City of Green River, and if you have their letters, or we can probably get them from them as well, just to make sure we're all kind of speaking the same language and sending the same message then.
Exactly. Now then, I'll be meeting with them, with the city council tonight, and I will, again, I'm going to, I guess, honestly start with Mr. Core and say, what is the mechanism to make sure that that is taken care of, worked through. So.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming over. We appreciate it. And thanks to your audience as well. No one ever comes to our meetings, so it's nice to see some bright faces. You're on TV too, so smile.
So, and then.
Finally got one. Morning.
Morning.
Got to introduce yourselves just so we have it on record.
Hello, Chairman West and petitioners. Thank you for hearing us today. I'm Easton Morris.
And I'm Cameron Quackenbush. We are seniors at Green River High School, and this year we're excited to take part in the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding. To commemorate this milestone, our senior class, along with other Green River High School students, have partnered with the Sweetwater County Historical Museum and Johnny K on the radio.
As part of this collaboration, students will research, write, and record short informational clips highlighting key figures and events from the American Revolutions. These recordings will air daily leading up to July 4th, 2026, helping to educate and inspire our community as we approach this historic celebration.
This project aligns with multiple state standards and provides us with a meaningful opportunity to be actively and civically involved in our community.
We appreciate your support and hope that you will take lead on all efforts to bring history to life within our county. Thank you.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. Job well done. We don't want to take the lead on the whole thing, though. That's what we have you guys for. We'll help where we can. We appreciate it very much. Anyone else? Well, thank you all. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming over. That's going to move us to item number 6. Eric, you got some big shoes to fill this morning. We've got the letter of support for the proposed rescission of the Conservation and Landscape Health Rule. And joining us is Sweetwater County Land Use Director Eric Bingham. Morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So back in 2024, there was a rule passed that put conservation, which is a non-use, as a multiple use. And so what that did is, in fact, allowed other groups also to be able to apply for conservation easements on public lands property, which was also problematic, thus possibly avoiding the NEPA process and such. So where this came in, as we saw in the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan, we saw a lot of conservation. We saw a lot of areas that were blocked off from right-of-way exclusion areas to VRM 1s and 2s, visual resource managements, that shut down potential oil and gas development. Myself, Commissioner Jones, have reached out to our federal delegation a few times to insist that this rule be rescinded, because it does affect, when you get into those resource management plans, conservation as a multiple use, because they manage to multiple use. So we were very excited to see that the Department of Interior did publish on the Federal Register to rescind this rule. This is a letter of support for that, Mr. Chairman. Also, what has instigated a lot of this rescission is all those executive orders and secretarial orders that were appreciative of President Trump for initiating at the beginning of his presidency in his second term. So we appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, we ask for your support with this request.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Any questions or comments on the letter of support, Commissioners? Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just, I know I've said this many times, but just huge thank you to you and Mr. De Leon. The countless hours you guys have put in on this whole RMP debacle and continuing to push forward and not giving up when it seems like we keep hitting our heads against the wall, but I
Yeah.
certainly appreciate everything you both have done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it feels like we're back in the saddle now.
Yeah, yeah, it's,
Good to see, you know, with the amendment process, but
yeah,
any help we can help provide with that. I know you guys are on it, but it feels like we've written 100 of these letters and they all say the same thing, just in different paragraphical form. And so
yeah,
anything we can do to help you with that,
sure.
certainly let us know, but we'll continue to march forward and hope for the best.
Okay.
Additional comments, commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the letter of support for the proposed rescission of the conservation and landscape health rule as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
Mr. Chairman.
Eric.
We'll see you in a month with the RMP comments.
Very good. Next on the agenda is the 2025 holiday benefit discussion. Joining us this morning is County HR Director Gary McLean. Good morning, Gary.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend of wild weather. I know Mary did, romping about in the mud. I thought I'd bring up with the board the discussion relative to the holiday season. It always seems like we end up being later and it's kind of a scramble. And obviously it's a time when people want to make plans with their family for holidays and those things. So I submitted to the board as a primer for this discussion and a memo kind of outlining the days, what we've done in the past. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that. Looking at the schedule, Thanksgiving this year is on a Thursday, and the current practice is for the Thanksgiving Day, so the 27th and 28th to be off. I don't see any reason to amend that. On Christmas, again, the 25th is on a Thursday. Christmas Eve, obviously lots of folks are off on that time frame, getting ready for dinners and those things. I think if we were to consider something, that makes the most sense to me. And then again, on New Year's, the 1st is on a Thursday. I think there's not much to do there. That's an important time of year for the offices to be open with license plates and end of year issues and things like that. And then, the last item that I addressed with the board is if there was any interest in doing the one-time incentives, and I included the cost in there for the $500. Obviously, it was more than that. It would be double that roughly. And so with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions or thoughts. And obviously, we don't have to decide today, but I did think it was important to get on the list earlier we can get that decided. It allows us to work with payroll if we need to do something with them, and then to communicate early enough with employees.
I appreciate that, Gary, and thanks for your forward thinking. It does seem like these sneak up on us, so appreciate you putting all that together, along with the history of basically the last 10 years as far as what's been done for the holidays. Commissioners, I'd open it up for discussion. Very good. We will go, no.
Next.
Catch up on my reading.
Obviously it's been a tough year, and we've had to make probably the most cuts that we've been faced with, just with all the down revenues between minerals and some of the property tax. I mean, I think we've made it a point every year since we've been up here, we've offered a cost of living raise to try and, keep up with inflation, and obviously taking care of the employees. Some years we've given a bonus, some years we've implemented a floating holiday. In the perfect world, we do a little bit of all, but I don't think it's an unreasonable proposal that Gary's put together here. I think, Christmas Eve makes sense. It's fortunately everything's fallen on a Thursday, so that gives the opportunity for some to take off on Friday, with the exception of maybe New Year's. Obviously, that's up to their respective department, but I think it probably makes the most sense, and I would start with that and see where you all feel about it. But I think we need to be a little bit careful on some of the cuts we've made, and we have offered raises, but I'm not sure that's the right year for a bonus, given all the challenges. But that's where I'm at.
I don't have much to add, Mr. Chairman. I just agree. I think that's the position or the situation we're in, not the position, but the situation we're in.
Anyone else?
I agree. It's hard.
Now, Commissioner Richards did say he would personally foot that bill. That was a nice offer of him. I like to recognize that.
And I changed my statement.
Any other discussion on the holiday benefit?
Mr. Chairman, I would agree. I think Christmas Eve is something we should look at. And I don't know, in just looking at it, there might be some interest in, rather than doing Christmas Eve, doing the Friday, so that there would be a 4-day weekend. And I'm not sure that that's a better idea, but just something that kind of jumped out at me. If we're talking about different possibilities, that would be something to potentially look at. But I agree with the other comments, but I do think that doing something around Christmas with either Christmas Eve or something like that would be something we should look at.
Would it be possible to give an option of taking either one so you have part of the staff here?
Yeah, I mean, it's always possible. There still is that floating holiday that people can use. And so I think depending on the operations, like for example, sometimes in that time frame, the courts will be closed, so there's not a lot of activity in that area. Other areas, might be really busy in that period from, as like I said, as we approach the end of the year. I don't think there's any perfect solution. I think the best answer is really just allowing people to know, so they can plan and go from there. I think people employees would appreciate any of those opportunities. I think it's just important that we let them know so we can make arrangements for operations and arrangements for travel and arrangements for staffing and things like that.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I understand our desire to be fiscally responsible, but I also want to take care of our employees, and a Christmas bonus is historically a way that we tell them how much we appreciate them. And yes, we did give them a COLA raise. We've done that consistently since we've been up here on this dais, but I'd still like to provide at least a token of a Christmas bonus to them. It doesn't have to be as large as we've done in the past, but I hate to see it go to zero. Can I suggest maybe a $250 Christmas bonus?
Okay. Any other input? Does anyone want to make a motion?
Where are we on our discussion of Christmas? Are we thinking Christmas Eve or are we thinking Friday? Which I hate to be open on Christmas Eve, but
I think my perspective, and speak up if I'm wrong, but observe the regular holiday schedule with allowing for an additional day off on Christmas Eve. Additional paid holiday, I should say.
Mr. Chairman, in the expediency, let me put that particular one into a motion, and then we can discuss the bonus separately.
I would entertain a motion to approve the 2025 holiday benefit, which would include observing the current regular holidays while also authorizing an additional holiday on December 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous.
And then just to get it on the table, I would move that we provide our employees a $250 Christmas bonus.
So if I read this right, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, Gary, if I read this right, that would be about $60,500 if we were to do $250.
Yes, that's correct. One thing that I guess I could point out, as you know, we budget for X number of positions, and throughout the year, some of those positions are vacant, and some of those positions are filled and they're vacant. Some of them are many months for they're filled. So one of the things, if it adds to that discussion, is from my perspective, there would not need to be an additional appropriation. I think that there'll be in excess of this amount remaining in the salary budget because of those vacancies and the overlap. And so I think towards the end of the year, we'd have to figure out what the best way to do that, but we could make that adjustment without changing the overall budget or having a separate appropriation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be clear about that. I mean, I can't calculate precisely what that amount is, but it's going to be in excess of this.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Toman.
I would second the motion based on that information.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit behind there. I received an email, and I just want to be clear. There are some agencies, like the sheriff's office, for instance, that have to be open. And so the idea of this additional holiday would just result to, like it does the others, as far as holiday pay for those that are working.
You're right.
Correct? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so getting caught up, sorry about that. We had a motion by Commissioner Richards to authorize a $250 Christmas bonus, which was seconded by Commissioner Toman. Is there any further discussion on that?
Thank you for that information, Gary.
I'm conflicted on this. I obviously have been an advocate for trying to take care of employees and have stood behind all of the cost of livings that we've offered. I just can't get on board this year. Unfortunately, it's been a tough year, and we've had some significant budget amendments and continue to face some of the struggles with that. We gave one in 23 for $1,000. We gave one last year for $500. So I'm going to vote against this, but I don't want that to be misconstrued as something other than what it is of just trying to be responsible. And I have a hard time when we've cut a lot of these other outside agencies. Just doesn't seem like it's the right time for me. So any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I too have been a strong advocate for the employees, and I believe they are our most important asset. But I tend to lean the same direction you do with respect to this. Looking at the agencies that we had to cut, it was an extremely difficult decision to do that. And I think it sends a bad message to have done that and then kind of backtrack and do something like this. So I too will vote against this, and I hate the thought of doing that because I really do. And I have strongly advocated for the employees throughout my tenure. But I just think that this is one of those times where that's not the right thing to do.
Do have a motion and a second on the table. We're going to roll call this one, and we'll start with Commissioner Richards.
Aye.
Commissioner Toman.
Aye.
Commissioner West is nay. Commissioner Jones.
Nay.
And Commissioner Slaughter.
Nay.
Motion fails 3-2. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you putting that together, and we'll hope for better news next year and certainly try and take care when we can, but sometimes we got to be tough, unfortunately. Going to move us to item number 8, which is the request for the approval of the corrected 2026 health insurance premium schedule, and we'll hand it back to Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. This is really just follow-up from the last meeting. We had provided the board with a rate schedule. And in the meantime, the the IRS had, for the high deductible plan, it's listed on yours as HDHB, that in order for that to be a high deductible plan, the minimum has been increased from 1,600 to 1,700 by the IRS and the family to 3,400. On the list that we presented to the board, we had not, still had that at the 1,600. I don't think we were aware that the IRS had made the change to that at that time. So this just amends it to reflect the IRS minimum to have a high deductible plan. We're requesting approval for the chairman to sign that. And then I've also attached to that the retiree health insurance premium schedule, which is the same as it was previously. Mr. Chairman had missed the signature on that, so no harm, no foul. We just thought we'd get that today. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
Okay, we approved the retiree as well already, right?
Yeah,
Just
we just
signature.
didn't have a signature yet.
Okay. Questions on the correction, commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the corrected 2026 premium schedule for active employees and retirees and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Gary. Appreciate it. Everyone good? Anyone need a break? Keep rolling along then. We've got the item number 10, which is the award of the fiscal year 2026 Roosevelt Parking Lot Patching and Valley Gutter Project. And joining us this morning here is Director of Public Works, Gene Legursky. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Sorry, I was a little bit delayed. I was trying to get everything in the correct order so we could go through these. What you have before you is the award of the fiscal year 2026 Roosevelt Parking Lot Patching and Valley Gutter Project. This was a capital project that we talked about redoing the whole entire parking lot, or what could we do to improve that parking lot up at Golden Hour. Andy really looked into this. And we have a valley gutter design from approximately the food court going around the south of the building and heading down the east side of the building. If you look at the bid tabs, you will realize that we had an alternative in there that was a subtractive alternative. And what that was is typically when you do a valley gutter or any curb and gutter work, you patch 2 feet on either side of the valley gutter. If it's curb and gutter, you only patch 2 foot on the one side. With this, we decided to put an alternative in there because of some of the deficiencies in that parking lot, to go ahead and pave 6 feet either side of it, and just to see where prices fell out. So what we ended up doing is the prices came in for that subtractive. So we subtracted the 2 feet out, added back in the 6 feet, and we're still under budget from what we projected. So we think that this is the best alternative, is to award that contract as stated with the alternate.
Very good. Thanks, Gene. Any questions on the parking lot patching and valley gutter project? If not, I'd entertain a motion to award the fiscal year 2026 Roosevelt Parking Lot Patching and Valley Gutter Project to R&D Sweeping and Asphalt Maintenance, LC, and the sum of $138,920.01, and authorize the chairman to sign all necessary documents.
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner Toman to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Item number 11 is the lease agreement between Grote House Construction and Sweetwater County for a portion of 3A on Leos Drive. And we'll hand it back to Gene.
Thank you, Chairman. What you have before you is a lease agreement with Grote House Construction for building 3A out at Leos Drive. If you guys remember, we did the front 2 buildings. 3A is the back building where we use it for storage, getting ready for various auctions, and a lot of the search and rescue type apparatuses and stuff like that to be kept warm through the wintertime. Grote House approached me, I don't know, about a month ago on this, and to be completely honest, what happened is they got a project out at one of the local trona mines, and this project went from one thing that they were doing to 22 things that they're doing. So it kind of blew up on them. They're looking for a place to store material. They said, hey, can you bring this up? I said, well, that's not my decision. Let's get an MOU between us and approach the board with this. Just so you guys know, the numbers aren't exact as far as the square footage in there, but they're renting basically one bay and then two offices. If you figure the one bay is approximately 1,440 square feet and two offices at 120 square foot in office, combined total is about 1,680 square foot of that building. That building's 13,200 square feet. So they're really a very small portion of that building. If you look at how much they're renting of the total square footage of that, there's 53,140 square feet of building out there. So they're actually only renting about 3.2% of the total area. As you also remember, I know there were some questions. 3A we did not touch as far as the renovation or anything like that. That building is just sitting there. When we decide what to do with it, you guys decide what to do with it and go forward. Right now it's storage.
Thanks, Gene. And this was just for through March, it looks like.
Through March. What they approached me was 3 to 6 months. I didn't want to approach you guys back in 3 months if it didn't work out. So I just termed it for 6 months.
Questions on the lease agreement, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Slaughter.
I had an issue, but I think Gene has cleared something up by stating that they would only be leasing a small portion of this building. So that alleviates one of the concerns that I have. Well, we also have received a negative comment with respect to this from a concerned citizen that this could potentially be the county competing with private enterprise in doing something of this nature with a private contractor. That does give me just a little bit of hesitation. I don't like the concept of us competing with private enterprise or even the perception of that being the case. So I do have some reluctance because of that. I had more reluctance because of the other issue, but I think that that's probably not, I think it's a non-issue now.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richards?
You know, initially I was pretty hesitant about this, but then I thought this was a short-term solution to help pay some of our own costs for a building that we're not fully using for the next 6 months. I looked into the square footage, the price per square footage. It's on the low end of what is available statewide, a little closer to what's available regionally. I think it's a fair proposal. It solves a short-term problem for us. It solves a short-term problem for somebody who's doing business in our community. I don't think it puts us into the position of becoming long-term leaseholders or for-profit businesses. I think it's just a short-term solution that benefits both parties. So I think I'm going to be in favor of this.
Very good. Additional comments? Yeah, I don't know. At first I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I appreciate the concerned citizen reaching out. You know, I've said all along, I don't really want to be in the governmental real estate game. This is just a short-term, 3-month situation with the potential of 6 months. If we have a need or another, I guess, prospect arises that we want to do with that building, we have the opportunity to, give a short, I believe it was 30 days notice. So that's not something I want to look into, forever in the future. It's one of those, we provide space for a lot of other, nonprofits, but we've also provided space for another business, down the street at one point in time that was an LLC. And it's tricky. That's part of the reason we're trying to consolidate and put things into the public works facility and, get rid of some of these unneeded or dated or unnecessary facilities so that we're not in the real estate game. But, this one's just a short-term situation. So I think I'm all right with it.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I also spoke with Under Sheriff Tomich. He had called me just kind of curious about what's going on, and he's okay with that, provided that we don't disturb any of the space that they have for their existing search and rescue equipment that needs to be stored in that area, and there isn't.
Okay.
So.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement between Grow House Construction and Sweetwater County for the portion of space at the building at 3A Laos Drive and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. And item number 12 is resolution 25-10-EN-01, a resolution to consider alteration of McKinnon Road right away. We'll hand it back to Gene.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, it's kind of funny, I've almost been here 10 years. For the first 8 years, we didn't do one of these, and I think we've hit 7 or 8 of them in the last 2 years. So you guys have been baptized a little bit by fire on these, so it's old hat. What this is we received a petition from somebody that lives off of Highway 414 in McKinnon on County Road 1. We actually call it the Birch Creek section because it's a non-paved section to the south that heads into Utah. For an alteration of the county road right-of-way within that area. The petition was received. It was deemed complete by the clerk's office. So we're going on to the next step of the 5-step process. If you guys accept this resolution, that includes appointing Andy Hooten as the reviewer. He will take the oath and go on to start the review process. He'll come in front of you guys and actually do the review with you guys. You know, hopefully it won't be 250 pages like the last one is, but it'll be thorough. And then we'll proceed with the next process. So that's where we are in everything.
So is this approving a viewer then? Or is this-
Approving to go forward and then
Okay.
appointing the viewer.
Oh, I see. It's a weird process. I
It's
can't
a
remember
very
all the
weird
steps.
process. Yes.
Okay.
I actually have a flow chart to keep track of where you are in this one.
Is it to make it bigger or smaller or?
Smaller, they want to go from 120 foot to 60.
Questions on the resolution, commissioners?
Did they give a reason why?
No, really, they don't have to give a reason why. That'll come out through the viewer's report. And just so you guys understand, the whole entire portion that they want to do is only 265 foot long. It's just through their property. But if you're familiar with McKinnon, there used to be a little store down there that's changed owners after the previous owner had it for forever. It's right in that area going back to Highway 414.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Slaughter.
And I may be wrong, Gene, but in looking at this, it looks as if it's the area in front of the new
Correct. Campground.
This
Correct.
And so I would believe it has something to do. They had some problems with bus routes and stuff like that that were in there. So I would assume that that's part of what it is. So I think it's legitimate. I see what they're trying to do here.
Sure. And this will all come out, you know, obviously, when we go through the reviewers process, we'll talk to them. We'll talk to everybody that signed the petition. We'll look into the bus route. We'll count, you know, there's also people that park down there to drop their kids off at the bus. There's kids that drive there and leave their stuff there, all within the county right away. So we have to take that all into review when the reviewer's report is done.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Not an entertain a motion to approve resolution 25-10-EN-01, a resolution to consider alteration of McKinnon Road right away.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 13 is a memorandum of understanding with Trout Unlimited. We'll hand it back to Gene.
So what this is a memorandum of understanding with Trout Unlimited for them to hire a contractor to install a culvert within a county road. If you remember, I can't remember, 3-4 years ago, down on Lower Sage Creek, we did it exactly the opposite, where they purchased the culvert, we installed it with our county crews, went well. I've been approached by Trout Unlimited because they do have money every year to help with this. It's limited in the places that it can be. We've tried it last year, I believe, on the lower portion. However, they couldn't get it by because there's no living trout in that area. So this does have trout. It's at the confluence of Trout and Sage Creek. If you guys know where the Logan Ranch is, it's right close right there. We looked at doing this in-house with our own crews. It's a deep project. It needs specialized equipment. It needs specialized shoring. The bottom of from the top of the road to the bottom of where the culvert's going to sit is 26-foot deep. We're installing a 12-foot culvert. So there's a lot of things that we just aren't specialized in. We can do it. We have the personnel, but we'd have to rent everything to do it. And by the time you rent 2 gigantic tracos, trench boxes, all that stuff, the contractor can actually do it cheaper. So what we decided with Trout Unlimited to do this year is we will purchase the culvert. The culvert's already been purchased and is coming down because of, like the person said, you don't want to be the last person in a foundry. Same way when you're making CMP, you don't want to be the last person to get it. So it's already being made. If you guys don't vote this in, we can install it. It's just going to take us a while to get everything done. As part of the contract with Trout Unlimited, we are also going to possibly haul some backfill material down there. With it being this big and this deep, it takes a special kind of backfill. We don't know if the backfill down there around the existing culvert will make the specifications until we actually dig it up and take a look at it. So we might have to haul some extra material down there. So between the purchase of the culvert, which was approximately $90,000, came out of fuel tax, we're looking at maybe if we have to do everything, $20,000 in haul and material. And then Trout Unlimited kicked in $40,000. Sounds like it's lopsided. I'll be completely honest with you. But if you look at it, we got to replace it one way or another, and they're willing to pay 33% of the costs. So I think it's a good deal all around. It's just opposite of what we've done in the past.
Very good. Thanks, Gene. Yeah, any help is certainly welcome from my perspective. Questions on the MOU, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Slaughter.
Gene, is the current culvert compromised, or are we putting a bigger culvert in, or?
We're putting a little bit bigger culvert in because when we went down last year, when we got a call actually from Trout Unlimited, the culvert that's existing is compromised.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest with you. The front 20 to 40 foot of the culvert, we don't know where it went. We can't find it. It's not in there. There's a cave underneath there that is holding up structurally and is fine, but the CMP is not there. We didn't find it. We walked downstream for a quarter, half mile. It's not down there. We don't know where it went. There's no rusted spots, or it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, nobody got down there and pulled that culvert apart, but it's gone. So we're looking at replacing this with a slightly bigger culvert because of the flooding the flash floods that occur down there, and especially at the confluence of that area. We're going to go with a slightly bigger culvert. The road did not overtop during the last rain events or the previous rain events last year, but it got to within a couple feet of the top, and especially being the confluence of both drainages. Those 2 drainages are huge. And we're also going to put some head walls in there and stuff like that. If you actually know anything about the Sage Creek drainage, it starts on Miller Mountain. So it crosses 191 and then goes all the way down to the Logan Ranch Plus. So it's a gigantic area. And then Trout Creek, runs all the way up top of Little Mountain. So they're both big drainages, so big culverts are needed. Just for a fun fact, there was a bridge there. We took it out in the 1980s and installed this culvert. So we deal with this a lot where there used to be bridges. We're getting rid of bridges, which is a good thing. Sometimes bridges are needed. So.
Thank you.
Would you say it was 20, how many?
26 foot to the
26
bottom.
feet? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about 14, 15 foot to the top. So it's going to be a big hole.
What size culvert?
12 foot,
12.
12 foot diameter with head walls.
It's crazy.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Richards.
Gene, where was this project in your capital plan?
In our capital plan, we were going to get it done this year. It took a while for us to design and obviously get everything made. So we're going to pay for it through fuel tax. We approached Trout Unlimited, because they were the ones that made us and just try to work out everything. So we were going to get it done one way or the other. With them kicking in money, it makes it a whole lot easier to swallow. So I do, just so you guys know, in fuel tax, I have a line item of spreadsheets. You guys see the fuel tax is just one line item. I have a spreadsheet that has about 30 items in there that breaks up everything and what we're going to do. And there is an unknown fuel item in there. In this one, because we knew it was going to be in there, I actually budgeted money specifically for this item because we knew we were going to do it within the fuel tax item.
Any additional discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Trout Unlimited for the replacement of a culvert on County Road 34, the Ramsey Ranch Road, at the confluence of Sage Creek and Fish Creek, and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tillman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous, and special thanks to Trout Unlimited for their partnership with that. It's going to bring us to item number 14. We've got change order number 2 to the Southwest Counseling Service Jonah Facility Grant Project, ARPA HHS-1127. And back to Jean, who's also been joined by CFO and interim Director of Southwest Counseling Services, Melissa Ray Marchetti. And Melissa said she was going to do all the talking, I guess.
She is. I'm gonna, actually, that's what I was gonna do, is I was just gonna turn over the time to her. So what you have before you is, the Ankeny Jonah facility, as we call it, it's the modulars down there, needs a new roof. In the grant, we did have repairing the roof, but actually after everything came together and we went up there, Melissa and I and the architect along with the contractor got up there, the roof needs replaced. Melissa dug through all of her stuff, and with some underruns on different projects and grant matching and how that also funds out, we were able to, or she was able to save money to be able to pay for this. So what we're asking for you guys to do is approve the change order for a new, it's an EPDM roof, it's a rubber roof, to go over that to protect those modulars from what they have. If you guys haven't been inside it, I highly suggest you guys go and look at that. Bill did a fantastic job renovating that, and it'd be really bad to not have a good roof on it, so it ruins some of his work. So go ahead and add whatever you want.
I'm just here, Chairman West, Commissioners, to go ahead and say thank you for allowing the funding within Jean's budget to go ahead and accomplish these projects. We really appreciate the support of all of the commissioners. And I'd also invite you to come to see these facilities as we're winding down and wrapping up. And also wanted to acknowledge and recognize Jean, as well as Plan One, to make these happen and a smoothless transition as we've gone through these projects. He has been instrumental, to say the least, in making these move along in a progressive manner and fashion. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely a busy summer of projects for Jean. Jean, there's a quote in there for water heaters too. Is that part of this change
Yeah,
order?
that's just adding those in there because it's starting to leak. So we might as well get all of this thrown in there, the water heater and the roof. So sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Very good. Any questions on the change order, commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve change order 002 for the Southwest Counseling Jonah facility in the amount of $27,249 as detailed in the attached AIA G701 document, and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to abstain as the company in which I'm employed supplied the price for the water heater. With that, motion does carry. And congratulations. That's a lot of projects for Southwest Counseling, and hopefully that works out well and some nice improvements for many years to come. So good job going after all that.
Yeah, it's awesome. If you guys haven't been there, they completely renovated four buildings. Two of them out north that are homes that are in awesome shape now. Everything's went through, brought up to codes, sprinkler systems, correct. You know, everybody looks at these projects and goes, oh, I really like the residential feel. Yeah, everybody likes residential feel, but you need to put commercial stuff in there because these unfortunately are used so much that you need to do everything commercial. So we got commercial fridges in there, we got commercial hoods, sprinkler systems, all of that kind of stuff. So it was a worthwhile project to bring these up to something that'll last for the next, 25 to 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, it's going to bring us to our last item on the regular agenda, which is item number 15. We've got the Sweetwater County Public Works Combined Facility Change Order number 2 as well for time only. We'll hand it back to Gene.
So I know I was before you guys about a month and a half ago asking for time. We need to ask for more time on this. Two things. We're having the state electrical, state fire has been awesome to work with. However, they are getting crunch time as with any project in the fall. They're getting drawn in multiple directions. The state electrical inspector is slated to be down here tomorrow. We probably won't be done with all the electrical. The next time he can come down is the 23rd of October, which is fine. We can work around that. But if anybody's out there and they're thinking, what's the progress? What's the progress? I just received a progress estimate from the contractor. This punch list has, sorry, don't ever get old, 142 items on it. And if you look at that, he actually went through this and the front page is all white, still needs to be done. Half its green, done. All of its green's done. So what we're really getting down to is the nitty gritty and stuff like that, but also to make sure that we have everything done to make the most beneficial use of the state electrical inspector. Fire has been through that building. It's sprinkled, everything's passed off on that. It's just getting the final dots and T's and all of that kind of stuff done and making it work. I don't like cold weather anymore. I used to love it as a kid, but it gave us a good chance to try out the boiler system, the radiant heat, inside and outside the last couple days. That's worked well under real conditions, you know, instead of, I've tested those out before and sometimes you got to throw ice packs and different stuff on the sensors to make them work. We were able to see them work, you know, when you showed up this morning and everything was melted off, it was nice. So with that, I would ask for time. I put to the end of October, just in case something happens and we don't, so you guys hopefully don't see me again on this project.
Very good. Thanks, Gene. Questions on this change order, commissioners? Not an entertaining motion to approve change order number 002 for time only and allow the chairman to sign all necessary documents as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Thanks, Gene. You got us caught back up. I'm in good graces so far.
That's how I try to do things.
Yeah. We are about 20 minutes ahead of schedule, give or take. We do need to enter into executive session. Sally gets all the credit for that, by the way. To discuss real estate and personnel. I'm not sure if action will be necessary upon coming out, so we will wait and see. But with that, commissioners, I'd entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of real estate and personnel.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We're now in executive. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive session and reconvene the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Believe we had a second by Commissioner Richards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We're out of executive. After coming out of executive, there is no action that needs to be taken. So with that, commissioners, with no further business to come before us this day,